Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Cay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Enlightened Evolution with Cay and Christina. Today, we are going to be discussing what we wish we knew in our 20s and some things that we've learned in our 20s. How are you doing this morning, my dear?
Doing pretty good. Right before we started recording, my neck started seizing up, which just pisses me off because it'll be like a week-long thing of it just being frozen. So I hope that's not what's happening. I put some icy hot on it, but we shall see. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. It could be from you just started, not just started, but you've been working out. So maybe it's just a little tense. Need to do a little stretch.
I do need to stretch.
How's that
And
been
I'm
go?
dehydrated. So I
Yeah.
know I'm going to drink this protein shake and then it's on to water.
Yeah. I think I need to get more. This is all I have right now.
Oh, shit.
I know. I'm unprepared for myself this morning. Yesterday, we were talking about our hamstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And I did this workout yesterday. It's like where you lay on a bench with just your torso and your legs are dangling off the ends and you lift your legs up like a frog. It looks crazy, like what I found on pictures. I am so sore from my glutes down to my calves to my abdomen. I gotta send you this link because
Yeah, send me that.
it worked. Oh,
It worked your abs too.
unintentionally. Because you gotta like
Yeah, I
hold on
mean,
to the bench and
oh yeah.
I work out abs the least because if you just engage your core, I noticed, well, if I engage my core with every workout that I'm doing, I
Yeah,
can
you're
tell that
gonna get.
results. I can tell that maybe it's my obliques. I don't know. My abdomen looks a little bit more defined, but I've also been kind of more conscious of what I've been eating as well. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's just a number of
Nice.
things that work together, but so I wish I would have done that more in my 20s, worked out more. I do. I've
Yeah.
always looked at appreciated other women's discipline and they're just
Mm.
aesthetically pleasing. And it's like, oh, I wish I've been good now. But in my 20s, I wish I would have spent more time working on myself physically because it helps me
Yeah, and
also
just
so much
building a
mentally.
routine.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And building a routine you can take with you further in life so that you're like, oh, this is just part of my routine. This is what I do. Yeah. Okay. So I think my notes again for this are just all over the place.
Oh,
Where do you
same.
want to start?
I wish that I would have taken more risks and not been afraid to fail and not cared what people thought about me during my process of learning and not being afraid to ask for help, not being ashamed because I don't know the answer to something or because I felt stupid or inadequate. I wish I would have just not given a fuck a little bit more. And
Absolutely.
mhm, so that's where
I
I'll
think I
start.
wish I would have learned how to love myself and explored who I truly was. I think that your 20s are a great time to do that. I was really trying to grow up too fast, and to me that meant build a career and do these things, but honestly the foundation of your life and your future is getting to know and love yourself so that you can show up in relationships, even showing up in your career authentically as yourself really changes the way you live your life. And I wish I would have known to even start that.
See, I wish I would have started my career earlier in my 20s and built my foundation, my financial foundation sooner and not been so focused on the love and the romance. I had my priorities messed up. Had babies very young, which now I provide just fine for my children. But early in my 20s, I had to be in survival mode, I had to be a mom, but if I wish if I would have been more goal and career focused, I don't know. So I guess I would have been pouring into myself a different way.
Yeah, definitely. I saw this quote the other day that I wish I would have been able to absorb in my 20s, and it says your relationship with others, or your relationship with yourself sets the tone for your relationship with everyone else. And
Mm.
that just pours into what I was saying before, but like, just and the way you love yourself is how you teach other people to love you. And in my 20s, I mean, I didn't love myself. So anyone
Same.
could treat me any old way and I would accept it if it felt like love or someone told me they loved me. I would just accept that and take anything. And I think through the years, I've grown to differentiate what actual love is versus someone feeding your ego.
Mhm. I think a lot of times it happens with friendships. I was gonna say it happens mostly in romantic partners, but definitely friendships as well. Platonic friendships, like we've talked about with our past girlfriends in the past. But yeah, they make you feel selfish when
Hmm.
really you're just, if you don't want to do something that benefits them, you're selfish. I wish I would have chosen myself without guilt,
Absolutely.
not been so
Absolutely.
codependent. I wish I would have
Yes, I
remained
was
unbothered and not taken things so personally.
yes. I was very codependent in my 20s, and everything I did it with the thought of how are others going to perceive it and is it going to be accepted by others? And I feel like so much only really in the recent years I've been standing in my truth and like honoring my intelligence and making decisions.
Mhm.
They don't always fold out right away, but they fold out in a way that I'm able, even if someone else was like, "Oh, don't do that," or "You shouldn't do that," everything comes to light. And for me, it feels like when I stand in my truth, I'm doing the right thing. And I see that down the line.
Yeah, I wish I would have found people that were more successful than me, some type of mentorship in my 20s. I
Yes.
spent a lot of time talking to peers that were on the same level as me, asking I so intent so like mindlessly asking them opinions about things when the position they were in life is not something I inspired to be in, or it was on the same level I was in. So why am I no longer ask people advice if I don't respect the the position that they're in life or the decisions that they've made.
Absolutely. And I didn't understand that in my 20s at all.
Mhm.
And they say, like, you should surround yourself with people that are doing better with you. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
every person that you surround
Right.
yourself, but have those people that inspire you, that mentor you. I didn't even know to look for a mentor in my
I
20s.
know.
I just was flying by the seat of my pants.
Mhm. I think talking to my patients, like the old ones, like
Mm,
80s,
mhm.
90s, just hearing their wisdom and the things that they say and like the strength that they have. They especially the women, they've really like conquered controlling their emotions and things just they're so strong like in their relationships and the things that they had to go through as women during that era.
I really wish that I would have gotten into therapy a lot sooner in my 20s. Like, I've been in therapy throughout my life. Um, I really didn't do it much in my 20s, though. And my previous, like, younger year experience with it wasn't the best. And I didn't find a good therapist until my 30s. So I really wish I would have dived
Same.
into that.
Never had any therapy until my 30s and it shows. Um
Please.
I wish that I did more short-term and long-term goal setting and started making lists and planning out my days. Like, now I plan out my days. Obviously, the days I work are from 7 A to 7 P, so that is just dedicated to work, but even my morning routine is very set. I'm very intentional. I wish I would've wrote things down. I'm a list maker now. I was just flying off the seat of my pants in my 20s, being spontaneous every day. Just, I mean, I went to school and went to work and, but I still didn't intentionally set goals for the future, and I wish I would have done that sooner.
Yeah. I I wish I would have explored my sexuality more in my 20s. I don't think I allowed myself to. I mean, it didn't really officially come out until my 30s,
Mhm.
and I wish I would have sooner. And that really tied into loving myself. I had a lot of shame around my
Yeah.
sexuality, being raised Christian, and I just wish I would have dated more women
Yeah,
in my
no,
20s.
I feel that. I've considered it now in my 30s. Just with the experiences I've had with men, and I love men. I wish I would have dated a lot less of them in my 20s though, and just poured more into myself and what I wanted to
Which
do.
reminds me of
Go
that
ahead.
thing I sent you around decentering men. I wish I would have learned that in my 20s. I mean,
Yes.
I don't even know it now. I mean, I know of it, but I don't practice it. And
I
men don't
do.
get offended. I
Yeah.
love that. But it's truly, women are typically raised to expect this knight in shining armor to come and rescue you. Look at all the Disney movies, Disney princesses. That's what they're all based on. Is this man's going to
Mhm.
come and rescue you? That's what your whole life's about. You're going to be a wife one day. Like, little girls are told to, think about their wedding someday. And decentralizing men really talks about, like, getting that idea out of your head, making you the center of your life, making your needs the center. And if a man adds to it, great. And I think the whole concept, and y'all can look it up yourselves because it goes deeper than that, but the whole concept would make you choose healthier relationships,
Absolutely.
which is something I wish I would have done in my 20s.
100%. I wish I would have read more books in my
Oh,
20s and
hmm.
not the ones I had to read for nursing school. Um,
Yeah.
I
I didn't
wish
feel
I
like
w
there was time to read books though.
There
Like,
wasn't. Not during nursing school, no, that's your whole life, and you have
no.
to you
You have
you don't
7 books
even
for
know.
one class.
I know. Yeah, ugh. You don't even you have to, like, re-find yourself after nursing school, that's a whole other but
That's a
I
future topic for
it
us.
is. I wish I would have read more, like, books on psychology and relationships
Yeah.
and spirituality as well, not because I was, raised Catholic, in the early years of my childhood. There's, like, a lot of shame and guilt around that, and like you said, in our culture, we're kind of bred to be wives, and our belief systems are instilled in us that we're valuable if we have a husband and if we're a mom, and we're thrown, fake kitchen sets and baby dolls, into our laps, and
Yes.
God, and our parents did it unconsciously too.
Right, those are the toys that are available for little girls.
Mhm.
I love that they're branching out more, and, like, Barbie has so many other careers. She's a
Mm.
scientist,
Yeah,
she's an astronaut, she's all these things. I think that's helping to change the, I don't know what you would call it.
the patriarchy.
Yes. Yes. Yes, exactly.
I wish I would have
I
gone
wish
to
I
mo
would've
I was
oh,
gonna say
go
gone to
ahead.
more concerts.
Ooh, yeah. I did go to as many as I could, I think, in my 20s, as many as I could afford.
Yeah.
I absolutely love live music. It's like I think we talked about this with Anna a little bit. For me, live music is always a spiritual
Mhm.
event.
Just the
And
collective experience.
yeah, yeah. Ugh, I crave it.
Yeah.
Like, I need a concert at least, like, every 3 months.
Yeah. Ugh, d I know you mentioned you've gone to Rainbow Kitten Surprise, but
It
I'm
was
s
amazing.
yeah, I'm so happy for you. I was gonna say I'm jealous. I'm not really jealous. I'm happy that you got to go, but I wanna go.
Yeah. They're another band, like, I see Coheed and Cambria every time they come to town. I think Rainbow Kitten Surprise is another band that I will continue to see every opportunity I
Mhm.
have because they did an amazing job.
Yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but my dad and I went to see Billy Strings, and he's like, I didn't even never even heard of this guy. And my dad found him on YouTube or something. It was like a whole festival, the whole like people selling bongs and the drug rugs and I mean just like tents full of stuff and everybody was chill, just kind of like that hippie earthy vibe ever. I mean, it was one of the coolest concerts I've ever experienced. Very cool.
Mm, I love that.
Mhm.
I wish I would have gotten into meditation sooner. And that kind of goes in with like just learning more about spirituality and all of that. I think it would have absolutely helped me to navigate the difficult situations I ran into in my 20s.
Mhm. Yes, I this kind of goes back into therapy, but I wish I would have recognized what my inner child needed
Yeah.
and what my because my I've now realized that my inner child is scared and wants to be joyful and playful and curious, and my inner teenager is angry and impulsive. And I wish I would have recognized that in my 20s. Never too late, it's fine
No,
now. I'm great now, but I wish I would have saved more money. I bought so much shit. I still do.
same.
I
I still
still do.
do.
Because I think it came from, like, when I was growing up, both my parents were very smart with money, great savers, but I always heard, "We don't got the money for that. You don't need that," and now I don't deprive myself of anything, and I think that's where that comes from, so if I see it, I want it, I got it. You know, or however
And that's
those
int
lyrics go.
yeah. I was raised my mom was a spender, and she used spending as, like, a coping mechanism. And so I have also done that in my adult life, but I will say, like, she got herself into some bad financial situations that has stuck with me. And now I am like uber conscious of how much money I have, what my bills are, what can I spend. Like, I don't overspend, but I could do a much better job of saving. Like,
Mhm.
we want to finish our basement. I have not saved anything for that,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be a minimum of $50,000, so
Mhm.
I could do a better job
That'll
of
that'll look really good when it's
saving.
done.
I know, I'm
I
excited.
love
There's just so much
redoing
space.
I love redoing things in my home. Now, I'm
Mhm.
intentional with the way that I spend. Like, I don't ever think like, "Oh, I need to pay my mortgage, but I
No.
really want the Chanel bag." Like, I don't think like that. I have all my
But
bills
I buy
paid,
a
but
lot of
I could
stuff
just
that I
save more.
don't really need.
So, I
Mainly clothes.
oh, for sure. I think that, because it's Christmas right now and I'm gonna start a whole new savings budget plan, after the holidays. I did buy the book's not close to me, I was gonna show everybody. I bought my girl at work put me on this 52-week saving book. Have you saw those?
I think I've seen TikToks you put, like, so much a
In
different
each
amount
week.
each week.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do like, if you want 10 grand at the end of the year, you save, like, 200 to 100 a week, however it has you space it out. The only thing, it's like someone could steal it, or God forbid there's a fire or something, but um I think that will work better for me because I don't carry cash and I don't buy things with cash. It's
Same.
like it just seems like a more work when I'm trying to spend my money. It's easier to click the Amazon buy now button, than it is to walk in the store and do, or the gas station or something. But so I've been doing that for the past couple weeks. I've been saving
Okay.
cash. Yeah.
That's awesome. I probably need to do that because, like, the thing is, I have such a great bank and they give me such a good return rate on my
Mhm.
deposits. I have all of my money in my checking account because I get 6% back.
Oh,
And that's hard for me because I like to move it to my savings. So I see, okay, this is separate. This is my savings.
right.
So every time I look at it, I have to be like, okay, this amount is actually your savings. This is what you can spend.
Mhm.
But I want to keep it all in there because it's earning the most interest rate.
That's really good. Where I save money through the, I don't know, financial advisor investment firm, I guess where I save money through, it's 5%. So, yes.
5% is still really good.
But
Most of the
6% is
banks I
better.
see, yeah, and they only recently upped it to 6%. I think it used to be maybe 4 or some, I don't know. But yeah, I can't find any bank that does 6%. So I
Yeah.
stick with them.
Is that bank in Michigan? You'll have to text it to
And
me.
it's very inconvenient. Like I have to, if I get a paper check for whatever reason, I have to go
Mhm.
find a bank here that will co-op
Oh.
and put it in that one.
Mhm.
There was a recent issue with identity theft with my account, which they were very
Mm.
good. They refunded me all the money, but I
Oh,
was
good.
going to have
That's
to cancel
nice.
my account number and get a new one. They're like, "Oh, you'll have to come into the branch." I was like, "No. Can't do that."
Mhm. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wish I would have spent more time with my brothers in my 20s. I feel like there's such an age gap between me and my brothers. My older brother is 9 years older than me, and my younger brother is 10 years younger than me. So,
Mhm.
in your 20s, like, so say I'm 25, my brother's 15. Like, we're not in the same place in our lives. We'd still have a great time together and we do stuff together. But the things he wanted to do are probably different than the things I wanted to do. And I only met my older brother in my 20s. So we were just building a relationship during that time,
Mhm.
which was beautiful because I met him, yeah, when I was 21. So, and then we also lived a distance apart. But I do just wish I had more closer relationships with
Yeah.
my siblings.
I have that on my list too. I wish I would have spent more time with my family in my 20s and not so focused on romantic relationships. There was a time I remember, I think I was in my 20s when my mom and dad and sister I think they went to Lake Virginia, New York, and a couple other places over there on the East Coast. And I did not go because I was in a relationship. And I certainly wish I would have. I missed out. I think about that. Wish I would have been more present in my 20s. I was just anxious and so worried about the future. Of course, worried about like the past too. I wish I would have just been more mindful and appreciated the present moment more.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know about the present moment in
Mhm.
my 20s. I was very anxious for sure.
Yeah. I wish I would have traveled more in my 20s. Um,
And that goes in line with you said you should have started your career sooner. I wish
mhm.
I would have waited to start my nursing career, and I wish I would have been a flight attendant so I could travel everywhere.
Yeah,
But
that would have
like
been
you,
awesome.
I was very stuck in relationships, didn't want to
Mhm.
go anywhere um because I didn't want to leave them. So I wouldn't have I probably wouldn't have done that because I feel like in my early 20s I didn't even know that was an option. But I feel like I would have not liked that job because I would have been leaving my significant other. And I try to go with the theory now of when you're struggling with, "Oh, should I do this or not?" Would you do this if you were single? Like, would you take a trip with your girlfriends if you were single? Yes. Then why aren't you doing it? Or would you
Mhm.
take a trip with your family or whatever? Not like other stuff you do when you're single, but
Right.
just things that bring you joy. Would you do that if you were single, if you didn't have to think about someone else sitting at home? You
Mhm.
should still do that for yourself.
Ugh, yes. Goodness. I wish I would have joined the military, like,
Okay.
right out of high school, got their benefits. It would have given
There
me
are
some
some good
discipline.
benefits.
I would have been able to travel.
Yeah.
And I have on here too, I wish I would have done more things that excited me, which goes along with just doing what you want that makes you happy.
Yeah.
I wish I wouldn't have drank and smoked so much. Because I think about it like, yeah, it was fun, but there is some times that I sincerely needed a bolus afterwards. Like,
Certainly.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
What else you got?
Not really much of anything. I think that if you are
What
in
do
your
you think?
20s and you're listening to this, don't be too hard on yourself about what
Yeah.
you have done. Know that I have a couple like quotes here that I found on Pinterest or something. It says if you are growing and evolving more beautifully than you realize, and the deeper you heal, the higher you go. So,
I like that. I
and
also feel like I mean, are there things I did that were maybe regretful? Maybe, but I also believe that every step takes you to it's a part of your path and it takes you to where you're going
mhm,
to go. I feel like I learned a lot of
absolutely.
lessons the hard way, and that's okay. I feel like those stick with you better than learning from someone else.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't have a whole lot of regret. Do I wish that I wouldn't have been married twice in my 20s? Yeah. But
Yeah.
that led me to coming to Georgia and meeting my now husband and
Mhm.
having so many changes in my career. I've grown so much since I've been in Georgia, so that I don't regret at all. What do you think you did well in your 20s?
Oof, well, I bought my house, I'm still in, and when I was it like 23, 24.
That's
So, I
amazing.
became a homeowner very young, and I am I'm so thankful for that now. I mean, my dad helped me get this home, um, so it's not like I did everything on my own. I have very supportive parents. I wouldn't have been able to make it without them, but I am so thankful for that because what people have to pay for a mortgage payment now or for rent is insane. And yes,
Yep.
nurses make decent money, but like I said, I like to spend and I wouldn't be able to do all that spending if I didn't have such a low mortgage payment. So I'm glad I did that. Um, as hard as it was becoming a young mom, I am glad that I did that because now that I'm 35 and my children are 15 and 11, I I'm financially stable for them now, so I'm glad I started school in my 20s even though it was too late, but I and everybody has a different path. I just know what it was like having young children, and I'm glad that I did it then even though it was hard because I had more energy. Now I would probably have more
Mhm.
patience, but I had the energy for it then, and now that they're older, it's like I'm still young, and they're going to be when
Yeah.
my son's 20, I'll be 40, I'll still be young, and so I'll
Heck
have,
yeah.
like, a whole 'nother second life that'll be much different. They'll be more independent on their own, starting their adult life, and I'll be able to be young, and I'll be able to be a young grandma if they decide to have kids, not that I'm hoping that anytime soon, but, um, I
My trainer is 40, and she showed me a picture of her grandkid the other day, and I was like, "You
Oh,
just do not look old enough to have a grandkid."
yeah. So, there's pros and cons to that, of course, but now that I'm of this age, because I used to, like, regret it and be ashamed of it because I had 2 kids with 2 different people, I wasn't married, now it's like I'm certainly okay with that. I am glad I never got married in my 20s, I've been engaged 3 times. I'm I'm certainly glad I didn't marry any of them. Um, mm, I don't know. I What else did I do well in my 20s? Those are some pretty big things, I think. There was a lot of learning
Yeah,
lessons and layers to my answer, but I'm pretty proud of myself for not ever giving up. You know,
absolutely.
there was a lot of difficult times, like mental health issues, and I just kept it moving, kept it going. So,
Yeah. I think I did a good job of loving others. I was very devoted to others. Um, I worked hard. Most of my
mhm.
20s, I worked 2, 3 jobs. Um, so I learned a really good work ethic then. And I think I did a pretty decent job of exploring and trying new things. Every time an opportunity presented itself to me to do something different, like go be in a film or
Yeah,
take
that's
a trip
awesome.
somewhere, I would take advantage of it. And it's wild. Those things have lent themselves into my career in my 30s, which is really cool. So
Mhm.
I think those are the biggest things I did well. I was dedicated. For my first nursing degree, my associates, I had a horrible GPA. I was gonna say I was a dedicated student, but I was not. But I also got my bachelor. Well, I got my bachelor's and my master's in my 20s. So
Oh,
I graduated my
nice.
master's with a 3.9. So
That's
gang,
beautiful.
gang.
Hey, hey.
I got better after the associates.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have.
That's all I got.
Well, I hope you all have a great week and you're able to reflect on things in your younger years, show some grace to yourself. I'm sure you all did great. If you're in your 20s, keep rocking it and
Stay
learn
single.
from us or if any advice we can give you, stay single. That's great advice, honestly. All right. Well, make sure you like and subscribe us wherever you get your podcasts.
You can also catch us on YouTube. We love you.
Namaste.
Namaste.